We're talking about cover crops as a grazing option with Dr. Paul Beck, our extension beef specialist. Paul, if you could just set the stage for us for producers who may want to consider cover crops as part of their grazing management situation.
So the agronomists really talk a lot about the benefits of cover crops, and those are a growing crop in between cash crops in a cash cropping system for grain, and helping moisture retention and holding nutrients and keeping wind and water erosion from occurring in a field, because we have something green and growing holding that soil. But a lot of those cover crops that are chosen for their benefits to the soil can also make great cattle forage. This is a relatively simple combination of wheat and turnips. The turnips provide a lot of different benefits in a cover cropping system. Wheat, is a great ground cover in this system, but both of those are very high in protein and digestibility for a lactating cow or a growing calf. The problem is that cattle that have been exposed previously to these will consume the tops, but early in the season, when these will grow really rapidly, put on a lot of forage early, they're high in these secondary compounds that have some side benefits, but will also are anti-quality compounds for cattle. They'll refuse to graze those unless it's the only thing there, and intake will be quite a bit lower when those compounds are high. Intake does increase whenever there's a freeze, because the tops will increase in sugars, make them sweeter, and cattle that have been exposed in the past, and here's some turnips that we pulled out here that are quite large. Cattle will not only consume the tops, but they'll also consume the root crop part. These are high in sugar, very low in fiber, very low in protein as well, but cattle will get a lot of energy from consuming these, and they really like them once they're exposed to it.
You mentioned turnips and radishes. Are there some other crops that folks may want to take a look at?
So in these cover cropping systems, any of the cereal grains can be used in mixtures or monocultures. Oats are very common as a cover crop. Rye is a very common cover crop. Rye will grow as low as 36 degrees. So it's a very highly productive crop, and it'll grow later into the winter. So there's some advantages for some of these other cereal grains. They're in these mixtures. There's people using a lot of Austrian winter peas and other legumes, the clovers, red, white, arrowleaf, crimson clover. The problem with those is their growth habit is later on in the spring. So we're not going to see them right now. We're going to see them later on in the early spring, and they'll be most productive going into April. Livestock, if we're managing these right, can provide a lot of benefits in that cover cropping system. They're going to increase the turnover of the nutrients, make them more available to the soil in a quicker time frame. And also, if we don't graze too tight and keep the right residue, we're not losing any of the benefits agronomically. There's just a lot of benefits in the high quality that we can get from these cover crops.
A great consideration. If folks want to learn more, is the best place to start maybe at their county extension office?
County extension office should have a huge amount of knowledge, both from the fact sheets and other bulletins that OSU has on the agronomy side, and as well as on the animal side, on both cases.
It really has to be the right mixture of that knowledge coming in from both areas.
Absolutely right.
All right, Paul, great talking with you today.
Thank you very much.
And for a link to where you can find your local county extension office, go to sunup.okstate.edu.